What up? It's your boy, the ATX Sooner, back with another video. And today, we breaking down the SEC schedule. What do I think the outcome is going to be? Do I think that we're going to be under the 7.5 margin that they gave us or above it? Looking at this schedule though, man, we're all happy about being in the SEC. It's something that's great news, great everything, but man, it is brutal. I will say that. I'll admit that it's brutal. I'll admit that we got some work to do, and we're gonna earn ours. So, coming from an Oklahoma Sooner fan, I expect nothing less. I mean, we've been getting bashed all off season. People feel like we aren't going to be anywhere near what the Oklahoma fan base believes it will be at. But regardless, we're going to break down this schedule. But before I do that, my last video, and I thank everybody for the prayers. I really do thank y'all for the prayers. And if you don't want to, if you want to skip through all of this, I'll put, a timestamp or something on the screen just to let you know where to jump to. That way that, you don't have to worry about listening to this. This is not football talk at this very moment. But pretty much, I hate to do it. I never asked for help with anything. But my mother-in-law, she passed away on Saturday. And it's hard to accept. It's unbelievable, I know that she's in a better place now. I pray that she's, having a good time at this very moment. But she did unfortunately pass away, and my wife's family, we can use all the assistance we can get. So below you'll see a Venmo, Cash App, one or the other. I'm not sure what my wife sent me, but either way, I'll put a link in it, or I'll put, I'll probably have the something that you could take a picture of, screenshot, anything you can send. It'll be great. We'll be grateful for it. But yeah, times are hard right now. It's hard to even make this video, because I have other things on my mind that I want to focus on right now. But I did promise that I'll drop at least once a week until the season starts. So that's what I'm gonna do. I got the setup, like I said in my last video. There's nothing holding me back. So I'm pretty sure she wouldn't want this to hold me back either. So this video is it's just for her, so anything you guys can help with, any way you can assist with me, helping us, go through this process. All the money will go directly to my wife, which is her daughter, obviously. And but yeah, I don't want to make this a somber video. I don't want y'all to be sad or anything, man. Positive vibes only over here. We're only here to give out good vibes. So if you listen to this portion of the video, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I thank you guys for the prayers and everything like that. So but let's get to the football talk, man. Let's get to the football talk. Let me put this smile on my face, man, because I don't want nobody feeling bad for us. I don't want anybody, just any prayers that you can send our way. We'll be grateful. Of course, if you do decide to donate, we'll still be grateful for anything. So I just thank you guys for going through this with me, helping me to cope with this. And yeah, man, football is my love. Football is my passion. So in a way, this video is helping me. So I thank you guys for watching the last video. Hope you guys tune into this one. But yeah, man, let's get into this talk, man. Let's get into this good old SEC schedule, man. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run down the whole schedule. It's tough, man. We got a hard one on our hands, but I expect nothing less joining the SEC. And this is a good wake up call for Oklahoma. This is a good way that we can stamp our who we are. Joining the SEC. It can go left. It can go left. Don't get me wrong, but I trust in BV, and I know that we gonna be all right. So, starting off, man, and I got handy dandy notebook here, scrabble all over this thing. But anyways, man, Temple at home, Houston at home, Tulane at home, Tennessee at home, Auburn. We going to Auburn for that one. Then we get a bye week. We get a little breather. Then we get the good old Red River rivalry. We going to Dallas. Home game for us. Playing Texas. Then we gotta go to South Carolina. That's a home game, so we're playing South Carolina at home. Then we got Ole Miss. We're gonna have to go to Oxford for that one. We got Maine at home. We got Missouri in Columbia. Another bye week, give us that breather before we, these last two games, which is Alabama at home, and then we going to Baton Rouge, baby, playing LSU. So, man, just to hear these teams that we're playing and know that we're going to have to play these teams on a year-to-year basis, I love it, man. I really do. I'm excited for it. I'm tired of the whole, can't nobody say anything about strength of schedule when it comes to Oklahoma anymore. No more. We ain't going to hear that no more. We're going to get a little bit more money for the NIL stuff. I mean, come on. Yeah, we still got to do our playing on the field, and that's one thing I don't like about making videos like this, because I understand that no matter what I say today, we got to do the talking on the field, and that goes for everybody. All these are from last year. These stats are from last year. You could just pretty much crumble this up and throw it away. It's a whole new year, new teams, new players that are going to elevate and show who they truly are, and we might run into a few of those guys. So I'm really hoping that a lot of those guys come from Oklahoma. So which I have no doubt that Oklahoma is going to surprise a lot of people this year. So we can just run through the first three real quick. Temple, Houston, Tulane. Those are all home games. So they kind of gave us that little breather at the beginning of the year just so we can get our ducks in order. I expect us to figure out the offensive line from these three games. That's going to be established. We're going to have the starting receivers established, which we have so many of them boys that I have no doubt that no matter who's available, who's hurt, we're so freaking loaded at the wide receiver position. I have no worries about that. But I do expect these first three games to be dubs, 3-0, and we're just with the knowledge of we're trying to figure stuff out. So it might not be the prettiest game to start out with. I do expect them all to be freaking blowouts, but we got a lot of new stuff at Oklahoma right now. So expect it to be a little slippery for us coming out the gate, okay? But I just know that by the time we get to Tennessee, we should have that offensive line established. The defensive talent that we have, we already have our starters when it comes to returning players. I expect to have that defensive line established by that time also. We have nothing but dogs on defense. Trust me, that secondary, dogs. The linebacker group, dogs. The defensive line, dogs. And remember, this team is built for 2025. I keep telling everybody this is still a building team, even though I do feel like we got the right pieces in the right places. This year is going to be that time for them to establish themselves. But, man, 2025, the SEC better have a grip. They better put a grip on Oklahoma. Because in 2025, I ain't going to say it's a wrap. I'm not going to say it's over for. I'm not going to say we're going to win the SEC, but I definitely expect us to. I definitely expect us to be top contenders in the SEC next year. But let's focus on 2024. So 3-0 going into Temple. I'm sorry, guys. 3-0 going into Tennessee. Okay, they're coming here. They're coming to Norman. And I'm in Austin, so not here, but I'm an Oklahoma fan, so I feel like everywhere I go, I'm in Norman. But anyways, Tennessee is coming to the Palace, all right? They went 9-4 last year. And I have a question mark on this. I don't know. This is one of those question marks. And then when I look at the 7.5, whatever you call it, you know, the betting stuff, when I look at that as so disrespectful. But then when I'm writing this stuff down on this paper, I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 question marks. I have 4 question marks. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how tough this thing really is if you're just being a realistic person, a realistic fan of Oklahoma. So it's going to be tough, but any of these question marks can be obviously a dub or an L. I expect them to be a dub. But Tennessee, that's going to be a home game. They went 9-4 last year. And listen to who they lost to, man. They lost to Bama. They lost to Georgia. They lost to Missouri. And they lost to Florida. Now, the Florida part, you know, I don't really have too much respect for Florida right now. Let's just put it that way. I don't think Florida is gonna be in our vicinity. Let's put it that way. But if you look at the Bama, the Georgia, and the Missouri games that they lost, those are clearly not bad losses. I mean, so that means, in my opinion, that means that Tennessee has a very good team. I mean, they got Nico, the quarterback. We don't know what to expect from him. I expect our defense to be tested when it comes to the run game because he looks like a speedy guy. And you know, Oklahoma has a history of not being able to contain that mobile quarterback. But like I said, with the defense that we got, it's going to be such a disciplined group that I don't expect it. I'm trying. It's so hard for me to flip the script from the Lincoln Riley offense, Oklahoma, to the Brett Venables defense of Oklahoma, and it's a hard flip. It's a hard switch to flip, but it's one that I love. I'm happy that we're going into the SEC with a defensive mindset. That don't mean that offense is off the boards. Clearly, if you look at that offensive talent we got on that field, second to none. But this Tennessee game is going to be the true test of who we are and who we can expect to be going forward. They're returning their leading wide receivers, so we got to be careful for that. Squirrel White, similar to us, not as dramatic as Oklahoma because we're not even. They're kind of filling out their offensive line. We are rebuilding our offensive line. So they're definitely in a different position than we are when it comes to the trenches right there, but not too far off. They still got some things to figure out on that offensive line. So I expect us to be prepared for this game. I expect us to be ready at the Palace. I expect us to take the dub. I put a question mark on there though because it is possible because they were a top 20 team. They had a top 20 offense last year, top 40 defense. The defense was better than ours. They got like 2 linebackers coming back. They got a defensive end who's supposed to be really good. He's returning also. So, I mean, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that this is going to be an easy game. But it is a game that I expect us to be 4-0 when we leave. So, but I got that question mark on there. So now let's go to Auburn. Okay, so when we go to Auburn, we're actually traveling. This will be our first time traveling all year, 4-0, hopefully, going into Auburn. They went 6-7 last year. They lost to A&M, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, New Mexico State, Alabama, and Maryland. I expect a dub. I don't think Auburn is ready for Oklahoma yet. Obviously, I know the SEC is a whole new monster, but I don't expect Auburn to be able to handle what Oklahoma's going to put on the field at that time. Obviously, we're 5 games in. Injuries are going to play a fact for everybody's situation. But I expect Oklahoma to be ready, and I expect Oklahoma to leave Auburn with a dub. 5-0 going into the bye week. Now, me personally, I know that it's a good thing to get that breather going into the bye week. But I don't really like going into the bye week with a real heavy game the next game. But one thing I will say that doesn't matter at all when it comes to that bye week, we got Texas, baby. So, returning, everybody fresh. You know, we got a bye week. Then we get to go into Dallas, our home stadium, and we get to play them ugly-ass Texas Longhorns. And, man, everybody has so much hype with Texas right now. One, Quinn Ewers, I don't believe in the guy. I really don't believe in Quinn Ewers. He says that they are the team that's on everybody's list. And I agree with that. I agree that looking at Texas' schedule, Texas might be that team that people have circled on that list. But one thing the SEC is going to learn, and I know, I get it, all the hype is behind Texas right now. Texas is a new team to you guys. Now that I'm speaking to a whole new area of people right now. You're gonna learn, man, that one thing that Texas doesn't have anything of is consistency. Now, oh, okay, well, that's the Big 12. This is a new Texas, blah, 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 blah. You guys realize that Steve Sarkisian has only won 10 games one time in his career, and that was last year. You realize that the year that Steve Sarkisian finally got over that 10 win mark, he still lost to Oklahoma. You realize that last year's Oklahoma team was still picking up the scraps from the Lincoln Riley departure. Texas team was established. They still do have a great team, don't get me wrong. But last year's team, I always said it. Last year was Texas' opportunity to win it all. So now, something that people clearly, I see the Oklahoma channels, we're talking about this, but everybody in the SEC, nobody mentions the fact that they lost 11 starters in the league, going to the league this year in the draft. Like, that doesn't mean anything. If they make it seem like Steve Sarkisian is a great head coach, he's a great offensive mind, don't get me wrong, you can't take that away from the guy. But any head coach that's not coaching a Texas team, if they look at you and they say, I've only won 10 games one time in my whole career, are you going to say that that's a great head coach? I get it. We got the UT bias. We got that. It's every year. Every year UT has that sense of hope. And they always crumble, they always crumble. They lost 11 starters last year. They couldn't even score in the red zone last year. And that's not just against us. You should watch the games that they played against us with the teams that they should have killed. They could not score in the red zone for some reason. And if you think that Texas is going to be so great this year, help me figure out who's going to replace that defensive line. Who's going to replace those big boys that were dominating last year? I have a hard time figuring that out. I know that they got a great recruiting class. I know that their transfer portal, they did great. Texas is always good at bringing in new people. But it's about the development. But hey, I'm just an Oklahoma fan. Maybe I'm biased myself. Maybe I've only seen Texas be trash my whole life. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe Vince Young might pop back up. Who knows? I don't know. But anyways, Texas, I got a dub. I don't even have a question mark on that. I got a dub. I think we beaten Texas this year. So what's that? That's 6-0 going into South Carolina. 6-0 with a possible 5-1. Let's just put it that way, okay? I want to make that clear because that Tennessee game is going to be tough. But anyways, South Carolina, they went 5-7 last year. They lost to North Carolina, they lost to Georgia, they lost to Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, A&M, and Clemson. I'm not too worried about South Carolina, to be honest. Their quarterback, they got a new guy at quarterback, so that's just like us. They got to figure that out. They got 2 returning receivers. Their offense was 10 spots ahead of Auburn's. And And Auburn's offense wasn't that great, to be honest. Let's just be real. I mean, their defense. And when it comes to the defense, when it comes to who I compared these defenses to, one, their defense was so far down the list. Don't get me wrong, so was Oklahoma's. But this goes to show you the difference in offense when it comes to the Big 12 and the SEC, okay? But anyways, their defense was not better than Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Kansas State. You got to think about it. Half the teams at the time, last year, half the teams in the Big 12 had a better defense than freaking South Carolina. I'm not worried about South Carolina. That's going to be a dub, okay? So what's that, 7-0 or 6-1 at that time? Now we've already reached that. We're right there at that mark where, you know, everybody says that we're not winning more than 7.5 games. Put your money on Oklahoma, by the way. Please, put your money on Oklahoma if you want to win some money. But after South Carolina, that's our home game. We got to go to Oxford, going to Ole Miss. Now, everybody knows that Jeff Lebby is the new head coach for Ole Miss. So if anybody knows that offense, Oklahoma knows that offense. We actually still are going to run a very similar offense to Ole Miss. So I don't expect our defense. Oh, let me get into these numbers, by the way, because they had a top 15 offense, so they really had a good offense. Jeff Lebby is going to do great things at Ole Miss when it comes to that offense. He had us at number 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Ole Miss was a top 10 offense next year. Top 60 defense. I don't even know if you can use a top 60. It was just so many freaking teams that I lost count. I just know that I didn't go past 60. I know I went over 50. But anyways, when you got a team where they went 10-2 last year, they lost to Alabama, they lost to Georgia. Those are 2 good losses. You cannot take anything away from Ole Miss. They have a very good team. But when it comes to the knowledge of the game, the knowledge of the playbook, Oklahoma has literally practiced against Jeff Lebby's offense for the last 3 years. That defense is built damn near to stop that offense. And their defense doesn't compare to Oklahoma's. Meaning I expect this to be a high scoring game, but I expect us to come out on top. 8-0, 7-1, either one, okay? Then we get a good little breather period. It's not a bye week, but we get to play Maine at home. Chalk that up. That's another dub. So 9-0, 8-1, either one. But then it get tricky. Missouri, the Missouri Tigers. They went 10-2 last year. They lost to LSU. They lost to Georgia. 2 good losses. Again, and that is the common denominator in most of these SEC teams. You can't really take much from their losses because they're playing the best of the best. So when you're playing the best of the best, you're going to lose here and there. So, I mean, the fact that they lost 2 games, LSU, Georgia, you can't take that away from them. They had a top 40 defense, a top 30 offense. I mean, Missouri is really good. And I hate to say that. I hate to say it. It's it's a rivalry game. I don't like Missouri. But I gotta admit that y'all are really good. And I gotta admit, I put a question mark. It's a toss-up. That's a toss-up, man, because we're going to Columbia. So, I mean, what's that? That's either 10-0 or 9-1 at that point. So, I mean, again, we're going to have that Maine game. That's pretty much a bye week for us. So, we get to jump into this Missouri game fresh, and ready. And at this time, everything should be established for Oklahoma. So I expect nothing but greatness. I'm already above that margin, that 7-5 margin of what we got. I mean, like I said, 10-0 or 9-1 at this point. Then we got Bama and LSU, baby. Bama and LSU. So obviously, We know the changes that happened at Alabama. We know that they're going to have a new head coach. By this time this year, when we play Alabama at home, they're going to be established. It's not going to be like when UT played Alabama last year where they're trying to figure out the quarterback position and all that. No. Alabama is going to be ready to play Oklahoma. But Oklahoma going to be ready to play Alabama too. And I can't chalk this up as a dub. I really can't. Honestly, I'm going to chalk it up as an L. I don't like that. I really have it as a question mark, but I know we got to lose some games. But depending on that Alabama team, with all the talent that they still got from Nick Saban, I'm going to chalk it up as an L this year. I think we got them next year, but I do think that this year, if they are anything similar to what Alabama has been for the last decade plus, I expect Alabama to come into Norman and win. Now, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, don't get me wrong. I feel like Jalen Milroe is going to grow. He's going to be able to go into the season knowing I'm the starting quarterback. And having that confidence going into the season, that's going to be a big booster for anybody. You know, we got Jackson Arnold. He knows he's a starter. He doesn't have to worry about a position battle. And that's going to give him the confidence to put on the hat and let it be known, I'm the man. So I expect the same thing from Jalen Milroe. He went like 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions last year. Dude was really good. I wish he was ready for that Texas game because it would have been a different outcome. We all know it would have been a different outcome. But either way, I got us taking the L against Alabama this year at home. That makes us 9-2 or 10-1 at this point. Then we get to go to good old LSU, Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, baby. Now, last year LSU had the #1 offense. Last year they had a pretty bad defense. Let me list off the teams that had a better defense than LSU last year. TCU, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Kansas State, UT. That's the majority of the Big 12 teams that had a better defense than LSU last year. Now, I understand they had some injuries last year, so injuries play a big part in all of this, obviously. You know, when we lost Danny Stutzman, and I think, what was it, the Kansas game or the Baylor game? Or not Baylor, we didn't play them last year, but Kansas or Oklahoma State, one of them, I believe the Kansas. That hit us. That took a big hit. And, you know, the score reflected on that. But either way, their quarterback, I'm not worried about. I don't think anybody's too worried about that LSU quarterback at this point. But if we're going to lose more than one game that I have chalked on this board, and this is another question mark. That's the beautiful thing about this SEC schedule. I can't look at not one of these teams and say we can't beat them. I do believe that we could beat every team on our schedule, if I'm being real. But if I'm being realistic, then, which I don't know what's the difference between real and realistic. I don't know. But anyways, if I'm being honest, LSU, just the fact that we were going into that environment, I know that the players are ready. The players can't wait. The players are hype about marching into Death Valley and getting a dub. I expect them to march into Death Valley and get a dub. But I'm just going to mark it as an L. I'm going to just mark it as an L. That means we either go 10-2 or 9-3. Regardless of the outcome when it comes to 10-2 or 9-3, we are overachieving. You understand that? And next year, it's going to be some trouble next year. I'm not lying. I'm so ready for 2025, even though 2024 hadn't started yet. But man, next year is going to be real for Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold's going to have a full year under his belt. That, man, we might not even lose. I don't think we're losing too much of our offense. Now, the defense, that's a different story. But the way BV does this, he makes sure that the young boys, and I'm sure Zach Alley's going to be the same way. He's going to make sure them young boys get them reps. Because they understand that that's the future. And, I mean, anybody that's coached for Clemson and beat Alabama, 2 times? I mean, you got to put trust in that, man. And I mean, at this point, we don't have a choice because he just got an extension. But I'm 100% behind it. Don't get me wrong. I love BV. I'm happy that he's our coach going into the SEC. And I think that we're going to change some minds for 2025. By the end of this year, hell, by midpoint this year, people are going to be talking about Oklahoma way different than they're talking about us right now. So, Oklahoma, keep your heads up. Again, man, you know how I am. I try to end this off with a positive message of the day. This one's hard because, you know, me personally, I'm not in too much of a positive mood. You know, I'm not really, I'm still trying to get everything figured out. I'm trying to help my wife. I'm trying to be a strong support system for her and her family. But anyways, if I can leave you guys with a positive message, if I can put something on your minds that help you through your day, then I'm happy. I'm happy, you know. But pretty much one thing I can say is, due to the situation that I'm going through currently, love the people that you have in your life now. Love them now. Don't wait till they're gone. Do it now. If you're still blessed enough to have parents in your life. My dad passed away 3 years ago. He's the whole reason behind this Oklahoma stuff for me. He's the whole reason why I'm an Austin, Texas born and raised man representing for Oklahoma. I wish I can give that man the biggest hug right now. Whenever he was passing away and I told him that we're about to join the SEC, honestly, he was so sick that he didn't even care. But he didn't believe it. He was like, man, they've been talking about doing that for so long. I'm like, Dad, I'm telling you, it's official. It's going to happen. He's like, yeah, whatever. If he was here today, he would have the biggest smile on his face because of this right here. This game that we love, this game football that has done so much for so many people. Whether it's getting them paid in the league or it's just me having having joy talking about it from the outside, you know. But if you're blessed enough to still have a parent, man, don't wait. Don't hesitate. Love them now, man. Love them now. Because when they're gone forever until you're gone. You know, we don't know what happens after this. We all think we know, but we don't know. But just love, man. Just love. That's all I can really, you know, usually, you know, and for those of you who don't know, my positive messages of the day, they're not written down on paper. They're not anything. It's straight from the heart, straight from the mind. I'm freestyling all of this. But, man, all I can say right now is just love, man. Don't forget to love the people that you love. And not from a distance, man. If you feel like you've been wanting to talk to somebody, or even if it's an enemy that you've been wanting to make up with, and you just feel like you need to do that, don't wait, man. Just do it now. Do it now. If you have a parent, like I said, I keep going back to the parent because, you know, my mother-in-law is gone now. But love them, man. Don't wait for them to go because you'll have so many regrets. I'm so blessed to be able to say that I was there, you know. I didn't tuck my tail when things got bad. I didn't not be around when things got bad. I was there. My wife was there every single day. And I know that if it hurts her as much as it hurts her, imagine not being there. Imagine that pain. I don't know that pain because I've never been that person. I've always, when my dad passed away, I was there every single day. But either way, regardless, if you're there every day or if you're not there at all, you're going to feel the pain. But I can just imagine that pain if you're not there, you know. Because I know how bad it hurts being there. But, yeah, man. I appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in. The numbers from my last video, it's been a while since I dropped one. I think the last one before that was the spring game vlog. So, I mean, the numbers for it, I'm astounded by it. I really do appreciate you guys for the love and support. Again, if you guys want to support me, with my wife's family and helping them to be able to take care of things going forward, you can donate to whatever I have linked below. And yeah, man, y'all know why we gotta love, man. Y'all know why we gotta be there. You know why we gotta support each other. And it's one thing. It's one thing that everybody in the SEC shares. But Oklahoma lives this daily. And we ain't got no choice. And that's because it's in our DNA, baby. Bye.